So you guys have been hounding me for months and months on end about me getting this particular guest on the show, and I think now is the perfect time. And I had to ask him and see if he was available, and we found some time that he is, and we are now ready for the interview with Kyle Verreynne. So I'm really excited about this. I hope you guys are too. We're going to be talking to him about his career, of course. I mean, obviously we've had him on the show before, but we're going to catch up. So from what where we left off last time, and then going into a different type of theme, as you can see on the thumbnail. But before we get going, before I bring him on the show, there's a couple of things I please would like you guys to do. First and foremost, you need to subscribe to this channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, and share. And also download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. I would also like you guys to please help us grow and promote South African cricket by becoming a Patreon today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. This helps you help us so that we can help also give value back to cricket in South Africa. I'd also want you guys to go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I'm looking forward to getting this one going. Very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show, your exclusive interview with Kyle Verreynne. I'm your host, Khalid Moedin. And today, of course, we're going to be catching up with this talent. We had him on the show before. There's plenty of times. You all know him. You've been requesting him to come on the show for quite some time. And we finally made it happen. So welcome to the show, Kyle. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, got a bit of off time now. It's sort of our in between season and pre-season. So yeah, just letting the body rest up and just chilling at the moment.
So what sort of things do you do in your off time now between this period when you're chilling and trying to refocus for the next season?
To be honest, this is probably the first, like, I don't know, probably in the last 3 or 4 years where there's been like a sort of break in play for myself. So yeah, I mean, just been trying to take my mind off the game. Been playing a bit of golf, a bit of paddle. Yeah, just spending time with friends and family. I think that's been quite good. Yeah, catching up on my studies, trying to get that done. But yeah, just trying to sort of, I don't know, restart and get fresh for the upcoming tours and season ahead.
Yeah, I spoke to Jason a little bit yesterday as well about paddle, and I saw it as well as at the Wanderers club as well. There was a paddle like
Mm.
area there. Can you maybe give me some insight into this game? It looks like it's quite a craze at the moment.
Yeah, it's massive. In Cape Town, it's massive at the moment. Just to try and get a court can be difficult at times. But it's, I mean, the way I understand it or how we play it is just like a mixture of squash and tennis. It's basically just like a mini tennis court. You play with a partner, and then yeah, it's pretty fun. Book like an hour and a half slot, and you sort of just mess around. So yeah, it's been quite nice. We've got a nice little friend group that play every week. So yeah, it's been really cool.
Awesome. Okay, so Kyle, let's get into the season so far. A lot has happened, and I think I'm going to start with a theme because there's something that I've noticed in your career so far, just by watching you and supporting you over the last couple of years, is that you've been very consistent with, particularly I'm going to talk about first class cricket over here. I mean, the averages have been above 50 majority of the seasons that you've played, and you've managed to keep that up and maintain it. And we know personally from speaking and doing interviews that there's been a couple of hurdles in your career that you've had to overcome. First and foremost, when you didn't get an opportunity in SAA, and then you still kept motivated, put on the runs, and then got selected, and then you got into the Proteas side and did well there, and then now this time around not getting selected, and then still pushing on, still getting the runs, and now getting selected for SAA again. So, can you give me some insight into how you keep motivated? How do you just keep on going back season after season and putting on the runs?
Yeah, I mean, I think at any point in your career, you always want to play at the highest level. I don't think that's ever going to change for me. I think, yeah, even when you're playing for the Proteas, there's always that goal or ambition to be the best in your team, and then if you can do that, then you want to be the best in the world. And I think until you end up being number one in the world, I don't think there'll ever be a sort of feeling of satisfaction. So I think that's just the nature of being a professional sportsman. I think it's quite easy to sort of find that motivation to keep going. I think, yeah, like I said, you don't ever rock up at a game or a training session without the mindset of I want to get to the next level or be the best at what I can do. So I think that's just, yeah, for me it's quite easy to stay motivated. Obviously, in and out of sides, you get dropped, bad form, those things. Everyone goes through it. It's just part of the journey. Happens more for some than others, but I mean that's just the nature of sport at the end of the day. But yeah, to stay motivated, I think for me is quite easy. Like I said, I've always got a goal to in whatever team you play in, be the best in that team, and then yeah, keep pushing to get to the highest level possible. So those are the things that sort of just keep me going. And then yeah, also just providing for your family. I think at the end of the day, as much as it's fun what we do and it's enjoyable, it's also our job. And yeah, like anyone else, at the end of the day you want to come home and be able to provide to your family. So I think yeah, that also helps with motivation when you get dropped or in and out of teams. If you sort of keep that mindset and sort of yeah, um, keep wanting to just provide for your family and do your best, I think it's quite easy to get over the sort of disappointments and just keep going.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, when you weren't selected initially for the latest test squad, some people wanted to know, obviously, whether a conversation was had before that. Was there a conversation had with you before that incident happened when you didn't get selected for the latest test side?
Uh, yeah, I mean, Shooks phoned me. I think yeah, a couple of days before the side got announced, and he just said, "Look, unfortunately, you're not going to be part of the test squad." Yeah, we did have a little bit of a chat. So yeah, I mean, I obviously appreciate that he took the time out to give me a call and let me know personally. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say we went into depth about the reasons and so on and
Mhm.
so forth. I think it was just yeah, more just him phoning to let me know the situation.
Mm.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, it's part of professional sport.
Yeah.
It's these things happen. So yeah, there's no issues there.
Okay, I'm glad I got that out of the way because it would have come up later on in the show. So I'd rather let the fans ask some genuine questions now that I got that out of the way. Okay, so let's get into your mentality because I mean, for a long period of time, I've been stressing that the thing that differentiates you to some other younger batters is the way you think about the game and your mentality. I've always maybe pushed that maybe too much on this channel, but can you maybe give me some insight into the way you think about your batting, how you go about scoring such big runs consistently? We spoke to quite a few different cricketers to ask them about converting and what their methods are. Some people say they bat time. Some people say that they try to get past a certain marker. What is your method to score big hundreds and to score big scores in 4-day cricket, particularly?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's not too much. It's not too complicated, to be honest. I think the mindset's pretty easy. I think, fortunately for me, at the start of my career, I'd probably say there's two guys that sort of had a big impact in my game and just that having that sort of hunger for runs that I have. I think obviously Ashy P's been massive for me. I think he's someone that I think in his career had to go through a lot of like hardships and stuff. And yeah, just that sort of fight that he had to have throughout his career is something that I sort of looked at and yeah, I think a lot of wanting to score runs and just be hungry for runs comes from my experiences and time with him. And then someone also, I mean, he's still playing. I get in with him really well, but he was there sort of at the start of my career. Is Peter Malan. I remember a conversation, probably my first season of amateur cricket. I was chatting to Peter, and he said to me one day, he said, um, when you're out in the middle and you've got 30 or you've got 40, it's easy to just sort of like, you've got a decent score and sort of free up. But when you're in those moments, just keep thinking about the times that you've been out of form. And at the time, I was like, I don't really understand that. But then you go through a period of bad form, and that sort of kicks in. And I think that sort of message has helped me go a long way in terms of just never being satisfied with how many runs you have on the board. You never know. You never know when there's a lean patch coming, or if you're going to have a lean patch around the corner. So when you're in the middle, and you're busy batting there, you've got runs behind your name. Don't be satisfied. Just keep going. Keep getting more runs and more runs, because when you go through a period of bad form, you're going to look back and say, geez, if only I instead of that 40 where I played a hack or whatever, if only I just pushed on and got 60, or instead of getting out for 100, if only I made it 150. When you're in bad form, I think you appreciate those moments, and I think that's something that I pride myself on a lot, especially when I get to 100. If I get to 100, most of the guys know in the dressing room, I'll probably walk in there and say I'm going to get a 200, but it's just because in my mind, you've done that hard work, and you don't want to just throw it away. You want to cash in and get as many runs as you can now, because you never know what's going to happen in the next innings.
Can you go into a little bit more details with regards to what sort of conversations Ashwell had with you? Was it an influence on your technique, or was it more influence on mentality and the way you think about the game?
Yeah, I think myself and actually B sort of see batting in a similar way. Not to say that technique isn't important, but yeah, I think technique's quite overrated. At the end of the day, runs on the board are runs on the board. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Doesn't really matter how it looks. 50 runs is better than 10 runs. Doesn't really matter how you get there. And I think that's sort of the thing that helped me when I sort of came into the franchise system. There's one or two technical issues that I had, and obviously you're always going to try and improve those, and as your career goes on, you're going to get better and better at that. But conversations that he would have with me at the time was just about making sure that you occupy the crease, just making sure that you spend time out there. Don't worry too much about your technique. If you're able to score runs, then that's what you need to do. I remember you used to have a saying, I think it was, if you bat for 2 hours, you'll have 50. If you bat for 4 hours, you'll have 100. So when you're out there in the middle, don't think about your technique. Don't think about your trigger. Just watch the ball. If you're struggling for timing, if you're not hitting the ball nicely, if you're not feeling too good, just look at the time. If you've batted an hour, just keep going and push to get to 2 hours. If you've batted 2 hours, just keep going and push on. And if you manage to stay at the crease until you've batted 2 or 4 hours, you'll have a 50 or 100. So that's sort of the thing that just makes it, or the thing that he sort of taught me. And it takes a lot of pressure off you. Sometimes you out in the middle and you're struggling to time the ball, and you're feeling pretty scratchy. Just bat another half an hour, bat another hour. Doesn't really matter how you're hitting the ball, you'll end up on a score. So yeah, that's helped me a lot.
And when it comes to Test cricket, what learnings did you take away from that? Because you had a really good tour in Australia and in New Zealand, obviously getting 100. So, like, what learnings did you take away from international cricket? Is the gap really as big as they say? We all say that the gap is big between 4-day and Test cricket. Is the gap really that big?
I think the honest answer is that and this is what I've said to a lot of my friends, guys that don't play cricket or whatever that I've chatted to. I think there's a perception that like the skill is so much higher. From a skill point of view, I don't think that the gap is massive. I mean, you can take anyone that's played a bit of cricket. If you throw them a half volley, they can hit a cover drive. If you give someone the ball, they can run in and they can hit top of off. But I think what separates maybe domestic cricket and as you move on further into international cricket is just the consistency of execution of that skill. I think if you picked up anyone in our domestic system and put them into a test match, there's a possibility that their skill might match the other guys. But from an execution point of view and a consistency of execution, I think that's probably where the biggest difference is. I mean, that's what I've taken out. You face guys like Pat Cummins, Hazelwood, Anderson, and they don't do anything amazing with the ball. I mean, they're just bowling a normal ball, but they bowl 4 or 5 good balls out of 6, where when you go to domestic cricket, you might get 2 good balls out of 6. And I think that's just where the difference is. I think the execution and the consistency of execution, and also the intensity that comes with that is higher.
Excellent. I'm going to keep on the motivation trail over here. Are you a guy that reads a lot of motivational books or etc., or do you speak to someone from a mental perspective to strengthen your mentality, etc.? What do you do with regards to mental growth in your off time?
Um, yeah, I don't really read too many motivational things or listen to motivational stuff. I mean, I try and just, I think everyone's different. It works for some people. But yeah, for me, it's just sort of using, I don't know, experiences that I've had in my life to sort of, I don't know, find motivation. I like to, as much as it might not always be a good thing, but I like to reflect and sort of look back at the past. You look at different things you've done in your life or different innings as you've played on the field or whatever, different mistakes that you've made. And for me, that's motivation to next time I'm in that situation, not make the same mistake. Next time you get a certain opportunity, make sure you take it or use it better than you did the previous time. So I think that's probably my way of doing things. Just keep reflecting back on the past, and yeah, going forward, just making sure that you're always trying to just get a little bit better in similar situations.
Okay, right. Let's get to the my favorite part of these interviews, and that's letting the fans ask you questions in the live chat. So let's start with the first one from Sadiq. He says, Kyle, you are one of the most talented batters, not only in South Africa, but around the globe. I hope this snub will make you motivated to be the best to which you can, upwards and only from here. I thought it was a question. Sorry, I should read it before. Who is your who is your cricketing idol?
uh, I've got many. I think, yeah, growing up in South Africa, Jacques Kallis is always the one guy that you like, that you look at. And then, yeah, obviously, AB de Villiers is the other guy that you like. Oh my gosh. But I think uh, you'll love me saying this as well. I think over the past couple of years, spending time with him, I think Ashy P is someone that I looked up to for what he's been able to achieve. And then more recently, Virat Kohli. I just think, yeah, the way he goes about things, the intensity, the energy, the passion that he brings, along with the sort of consistency that he brings across all formats, for me, he's one of the greatest. So yeah, at the moment, he's probably the guy that I look up to.
Hmm. I saw also a little kind of relationship building there with Faf as well, with the times that you've been under with him in teams. What sort of things have you picked up from him? Because he's been quite complimentary of you as well in public.
Um, yeah, I think I first played with him at the Paul Rocks, which
Yeah.
was 4 or 5 years ago. So that's where I sort of first met him. And then, yeah, when I came into the Proteas ODI squad and then later Test squad, he was still playing. So I got to spend a bit of time with him there and just sort of see how he goes about his preparations and stuff. I think, yeah, from him I've learned a lot. I think especially about leadership. That's something that I try to pay quite a bit of attention to now in the latest SA20. Just picking up on how he goes about things more off the field, just how he builds relationships with different guys. And you can see that on the field, that because of the work that he's putting in off the field, he gets the best out of guys on the field. So that's something that I've tried to learn a lot from. And then, yeah, also preparation. I mean, I think we're very different in the way we prepare, but it's just, yeah, it's awesome to just watch how he's so meticulous in his preparation. Probably hits the most balls, does the most sort of work behind the scenes and stuff. And yeah, it's really good to watch and just pick up on different things that he does.
Hmm. Okay, and I mean, you spoke about leadership and captaincy. You've had a couple of chances to obviously captain Western Province as well. So, is that something you're really looking at going forward?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was fortunate enough, or I'll say fortunate enough, to take over the 4-day side, and I did a bit of the T20s. But yeah, more having the 4-day side as a permanent role for me this season was really cool. It's something that I've always been a bit hesitant to do. I mean, I think I've got a good cricketing brain and I read the game well, but I've always been a bit hesitant to sort of um, I don't know, want to be the captain and sort of be the guy that's making the decisions, just because I wasn't sure how it would affect my game. I like to be quite clear and just sort of have a open mind when I'm playing. So I wasn't too sure how that would have gone, but yeah, I think the last season has been really good and I've really enjoyed it. I think I've said it before on the field when it comes to tactics and sort of bowling changes and those things. I think more often than not, the game sort of tells you what to do. You look up at the scoreboard and you sort of have a rough indication of what needs to be done. But I think the part that I've enjoyed the most is probably just the off-field stuff. Just figuring out what works for different guys, building relationships with different guys, and just figuring out like how to get the same message to 5 players in 5 different ways, and just sort of understanding that side of the captaincy role is something that I've really enjoyed in the last sort of season or so.
I guess you also have to read their personalities, knowing who can take certain criticisms and who can't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's something that I struggled with probably the first couple of games or so.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my personality, and sometimes it's difficult to understand why people are not like responding to that. But then as you go, you realize maybe this guy you can still give the same message, but you need to do it in this way. And just trying to understand those things. It's something that I've really found interesting, and sort of that those people skills and people relationships is something that I've really, really enjoyed sort of growing over the last couple of months.
Brilliant. Okay, Gaurav wants to know how the experience was against England and Australia.
I think they were both very different experiences. England for me was an incredible experience just from being able to play at Lords. I think when you grow up, getting to play at Lords is like incredible. So to be able to experience that was cool. And then just the crowds and stuff in England are always singing and stuff, and there's such a hype around it. I found that experience really, really cool. The cricketing side on the flip side was really challenging. I think people always say going over playing against the Duke ball is going to be a lot tougher. Keeping to a Duke ball, it's going to be a lot tougher. But you always sort of think, I mean, how much tougher can it really get? But I think after that tour, you sort of sit back and you say, wow, England's actually a really, really tough place to tour. And then I think Australia was just, I mean, a South African team going to Australia for a test series. It's like incredible. I remember, you wake up at like 1 a.m. or whatever it is as a youngster, watch Graham Smith do what he did, JP Duminy do what he did, Faf do what he did. And then all of a sudden you're batting in the middle with Plunk at the MCG trying to fight and save a test and stuff. And you just look up and you're like, geez, this is insane. So really, really great experiences. I'm really, I don't know, I get chills like speaking about it. I think those 2 tours for me were incredible, and just to be a part of it was amazing.
Okay, that's excellent.
We did lose, so I'm a bit disappointed about that.
Yeah, we all are. The A-team tour is a big opportunity, not only in terms of being back in the test team as keeper, but also claim number 5 in the test team and backup batter in ODI for World Cup. What is your best position in the 50 over?
It's a very good question. I don't know. My last 50 over game was about a year and a half ago. Playing for the Proteas. So I don't have an answer. Don't know about that. I think, 50 over cricket's an interesting one. I'd probably say my best position and probably my most favorite position is probably batting at 4. But in saying that, I've opened a little bit, batted number 3. I think anywhere in the top 4 in one-day cricket's quite nice to bat, to be honest. And then the first part of that, I mean, it's definitely an opportunity to get back in the test side as a keeper and a batter. But honestly, for me, I'm just looking to enjoy this tour, do the best that I can, and I think if I keep doing well, keep doing what I did in the past domestic season, I think those sort of things will take care of themselves.
Brilliant. As you mentioned, Ashwell, sorry, even he was critical of your lack of feet movement. Do you think you need to work on the feet movements a bit? Maybe a trigger movement?
Nah, foot movement's overrated. No, I think not to go into too much detail, but I think something that I've worked with when Bouch was still the coach and Samo was there as well. I think footwork, I mean, you watch Carlos, you watch Amla, those guys didn't move their feet, but they were still pretty good. I think it's more just about having a good base and good head positions and making sure you play the ball late. So, those are the things that I focus on. I think when they're running in and bowling 145 plus,
Definitely.
chances are you're not going to move your feet anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for some people, it's a big focus and it works for them. But I've got other sort of checkpoints that I use, and yeah, I think they've been working pretty successfully.
Yeah. I mean, how do you, I mean, there was a lot of people critical of your technique and saying those things in the media, etc. So, like, how do you, like, just stay away from all of those discussions and just focus on what you need to do?
I average 50 in first class cricket, so I'm not too worried if people are going to question my technique, if I'm
Yeah.
being
Good.
honest.
Brilliant.
Got a test 100 with that technique, so I think I'm all right. But yeah, look, I think guys when they speak in the media and stuff, you know, a lot of the time it's valuable information. I think the interesting thing for me is when an article comes out in the media about my footwork or my technique or whatever, um, I'm probably working with it on the coaches at that time, and it's something that I've realized anyway. So yeah, when you're getting criticism, and I think it's the same for most players, when you're getting criticism in the media, more often than not, you already aware of it and you're working to try and fix it. So yeah, it's not too much of an issue to sort of take that on.
Yeah, I'll ask you a question a little later about handling that sort of thing before we have a final few questions over here. We have seen you play spin very well. Do you think it's your strength? Do you prefer spin over pace?
Uh, well, I mean, some people seem to think it's a weakness, but yeah, I personally think I'm a very good player of spin. Yeah, I feel like I sweep and reverse sweep quite nicely, or something that I've worked on. I've been doing that um, quite nicely. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a preference. I think it depends what sort of wicket you're playing on. If you're playing at Newlands, you probably want to face a seamer at the moment because it's turning quite a bit. But if you're playing in, yeah, if you're playing in, I don't know, other parts of the world, maybe Australia, where it's doing quite a bit, you probably want to face spin because it's not really turning as much. So yeah,
Yeah,
it just depends on the conditions, really.
awesome. Who is tougher to face, Jimmy Anderson or Pat Cummins?
Mm. Sure. I think it depends
It's
where it is.
different.
Depends where it is. Both very good. If I could choose who I would rather face, if it's with the Duke, then obviously not Jimmy. But yeah, no, they're both tough. They're both
Mhm.
tough.
Okay, brilliant
It's
answer.
difficult to choose.
Don't give it away. Please describe the atmosphere in Johannesburg in SA20. How did it feel like? Did you feel any pressure? Of course, you
Yeah,
did.
that was insane. I think the only time I can relate to that was my first. I wasn't playing, but sort of my first tour that I was part of, the Proteas, the Pink Day against England. Those are probably the two sort of things that I can relate that the atmosphere um, in Joburg to. Yeah, the SA20 was incredible. It was just, yeah, it was so nice to be playing in South Africa and not an international game, and you've got like stadiums filled out. It was really really cool. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say there's too much pressure. I think it's more just excitement. You're out there in the middle. You look around. You see, geez, there's so many people here. This is like such an awesome thing to be a part of, and you just get that sort of like enjoyment and happy feeling out of that. But yeah, the Wanderers during the SA20 was next level. It was insane.
Yeah, you guys can see all the behind the scenes footage that we did at the grounds to show you guys semifinals, all of those type of things. So go and look
Yeah.
at that if you want to see that.
Yeah, no, it was
Um,
incredible.
yeah, Stephen Fleming, your time with him and what did you learn from him?
Yeah, so I mean, that's interesting because I mean, we're obviously there for like a T20 competition or whatever. So, um, chatting, I think one of the biggest things that I picked up from him was sort of the way he coaches and sort of how he does his team talks and stuff. Um, I think he's similar to me in the sense that he doesn't really overcomplicate things. If guys are playing well and things are going well, then there's not really any need to have like big team talks and stuff. And I think that's something that I really enjoyed about him. I think sometimes people can get carried away with saying too much when nothing really needs to be said. And I think he was really good at sort of gauging when we needed to like have a session where he abused us and when he could sort of just let us go. So that was really cool. And then yeah, from a technical thing, he actually helped me with a bit of Red Bull stuff while I was there, so that was quite nice. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't with him for too long, but yeah, I really enjoyed him.
People say that conditions in New Zealand and England are very similar. Is that so? If not, what difference did you find?
If I'm honest, I think a lot of it has to do with the ball. New Zealand, you play with a cooker, so yeah, I don't know. I'd probably say New Zealand is maybe a touch more batting friendly. I know the pitches don't always look like it, but I think just because of the ball that you play with in New Zealand, the pitches are generally pretty decent. So yeah, I'd probably say that England, also with the cloud cover and the Duke ball, is maybe a bit tougher for batting. But on the yeah contrary, I think England, when there's no or when there's no clouds and it's flat, it can be good. So yeah, I don't know. I'd say they're very different.
Can you
Long
go
answer.
into can you go into a little bit more detail on, because obviously some cricket fans maybe don't see this or read this, but the differences between the Duke ball and the Kookaburra.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really bowl, but like a Duke ball's got pretty sure it's got like a bigger seam, and it's I think they're all handmade and they've got like this coating or whatever on them. Um, so yeah, I think you can sort of keep one side a lot fresher for a lot longer periods of time, and they tends to swing a lot more. I think the Duke is also massively affected by overhead conditions. So yeah, in England, if the sun's out, it might not be doing too much, but the same ball in the same condition, as soon as the clouds come over and it's sort of overcast, all of a sudden will just start swinging and doing all sorts off the wicket. And I think that's just the nature of the Duke ball. Yeah, I think it doesn't really feel like it ever gets old. And then with the Kookaburra, I think it's very different. Obviously, it can and swing and do a little bit up front, but I think as the ball sort of gets older, batting becomes easier and easier and easier, and then you get a period probably before the new ball where Kookaburra ball gets very soft, and then scoring becomes slow. So yeah, there's quite a few differences in the ball. I think it also a big part of it is where the balls are used. I think it would be interesting. I don't think, like for example, I don't think you'd be able to use a Duke ball in South Africa. I don't think our pitches allow for it. But similarly, I think if you had to use a Kookaburra in England, it would be too easy for batters. So yeah, there's a big difference in the two balls from my limited experience.
Okay, final question. I know you have to go. So, would you fancy a stint in the county championship given the opportunity?
Yeah, I've been trying to see if there's been any opportunities out there. I think, yeah, any chance you get to play with guys at a similar level to you, in a different country, different conditions, it can only benefit your game. So yeah, it's definitely something that I would like to do if an opportunity does present itself.
Kyle, thanks a lot for giving me your time, coming on the show and having a chat with us. I hope that we can talk again very in the near future, and maybe after that tour, I would like to get catch up with you to see how that tour went. So good luck for that, and good luck for your downtime. I hope you have a lot of fun, and yeah, and good luck for the tour when it does happen.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
And see you, bro. Bye.
Cheers.
Okay, guys, that's the interview with Kyle Verreynne. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I couldn't take it a little longer because he was going to actually go play a paddle game. So, like, I did bring it up on the show. So he has that booked for later on, and that's why I couldn't bring him on later tonight either. So I brought it to you this time. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Please, guys, there's a couple of things that I would like you guys to do now that you are available and now that you are here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Click that notification bell. If you're watching this on Facebook or on Twitter, go over to YouTube and click that notification bell for all future videos, because that's how you'll get notifications for daily shows, daily videos that we do on this channel. What I also would like you guys to please do is download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics Magazine Monthly. This is going to give you some excellent insight into the game, a lot more in depth. There's a lot more details explained to you about cricket and cricketers and how they think about the game. It's all themed according to a specific topic. So please go ahead and download this 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. You can also help us grow so that we can bring you more of this type of quality content on a regular by becoming a patron today. Please support us in this way. This is what's keeping the lights on. This is what's keeping us going. So please become a Patreon. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. Also, smash the like button, comment, and share so we can get into recommended feeds, and our interviews and our content can be spread further and wider as well. And then go to clickerfanaticsmag.com for all regular updates. Thanks a lot, everybody, for coming on the show. Thanks a lot for asking your questions. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon for another daily show. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace out.